Good morning, students. Today, this is a fresh morning and we are back here in the GYANJYOTI online classes. I am Swain and I welcome all of you to this GYANJYOTI online classes channel. Students, today we will read about civics. The first chapter of civics is democracy. Students, we have already completed 2 chapters of history, 1 chapter in geography, and now we will study civics. The first chapter, as you know, is democracy. Students, what is democracy? The first thing which comes in your mind is what is the meaning of democracy. As you know that our country India has a democratic form of government. First of all, we will try to know that what is government. A question will arise before you that what is government? Who is government? Who are the people in the government? It means a government is a group of people formed by the elections, the mechanism of elections, and they are elected through elections, and they form a government, form a body of different ministers, prime ministers, and they rule our country or any country. They rule the country. There are different types of government in the world, like socialist you can see, some types of capitalist, then ours is a democratic, in some countries you can see autocrats like North Korea, monarchy. Monarchy, students, you know monarchy? We'll go through this word. Monarchy means it is a rule by the kings or queens, but now in the modern world it is seen in very few countries. Democracy is in most of the countries where the people have the right to vote. Students, in this chapter, before going through in detail knowledge about geography, democracy, we will study that what are the topics to be covered. Students, the first one is the definition of geography. We will try to know that what is democracy. Then our country India, about our country India, that how democracy government is successful in a country like ours, a huge populated country. Then a democratic republic. What is the meaning of republic? We will go through. And the forms of democracy. Students, I will write the forms of democracy here, but now these are the topics to be covered, forms of democracy. Then features of democracy. Students, what are the different features, important characteristics of democracy? Then we will learn it further. But before that, we will study what is the origin of democracy. Students, first of all, look at the blackboard. The term democracy has been derived from the Greek word demokratia. It means demos equal to people. Students, as I have told you, that the term democracy has been derived from the Greek word demokratia. It is derived from the 2 words. First one is demos, means people, kratos means rule. Students, it means it is the rule of the people. The people in a country, they rule the government indirectly by elections, by choosing their representatives. This is all about democracy. Students, then we will know that India is a very populated country. Diversities can be seen in our country, and large number of people having different backgrounds like religion, then the age, the dialects, languages, and most of the things are there which has bound us to live in a country like ours. We follow national integration. Therefore, it is rightly said that unity in diversity. A striking feature of the states was that all the adult men participated into day-to-day governance, and that has made to take some political decisions and to vote and to send our public representatives to the state or to the center. Therefore, the democratic government came into existence. Then students, what is democracy? If somebody will ask you, then what can be the definitions? Most of it, there are 2 definitions. First of all, we must have heard the name of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was the former president of United States. Then he told that democracy is a government of the people by the people and for the people. It means this government is of the people, means the people of a country, they elect the government by elections. For the people means it is for the people, not for the politicians. And by the people means they have a right, that is called the universal adult franchise. We will read it in the next few minutes. And that has made the people to elect a government and send it to the center, and they rule over us. Then students, one more definition can be there. Democracy is a form of government in which the supreme power is held completely by the people under a free electoral system. Students, democracy can be, I can write here, it is a form of government where the supreme power is held. Friends, look at the board. That democracy is a form of government in which the supreme power is held by the people, completely by the people, held by the people, through elections. Elections is a mechanism, it is a process, it is a way through which the people elect their representatives and they send it to the center. So these are the two definitions, students. This is the first one, and the second one I have told you earlier about Abraham Lincoln, that democracy is a form of government by the people, of the people, and for the people. Then students, we will move further, that as I have told you that democracy is the form of government in which the people have the complete power to elect their representatives through elections. What are elections? We will read about it in the next classes, but this is the mechanism, this is the way to select a representative and send it to the state or center. Thus, the people of a country has the right to governance. This means the governance, the word governance here is written, students. The action or manner of governing a state means it is a way to how a state or a government, central government is being run. That is called governance. People have indirectly access for governance. Students, this in a country like ours, in a democratic country, governance plays a very important role, because if the people of this country, they are sending their representatives, they only can have the right to send the right people to the center, and they make laws for us and for the betterment and for the fulfillment of our rights. So then we will study in detail about this, that democracy in India has, the people are held responsible for all the rights and duties, that is called the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties. They are provided by the constitution of our country. They have particular rights. We know there are 6 fundamental rights. First of all, one more right was there, that is called the right to property, but that has been removed, that has been abolished. The elected candidates directly take part in the government on behalf of the entire community. The policies of the government are determined in accordance with the wishes of the people. Thus, elections and public opinion are the two important elements of a democratic government. Even though there is no universally accepted definition of democracy, but it can be, there are two principles that can define the word democracy. The first principle is that all members of the society have equal access to power, and the second, that all members enjoy universally recognized freedoms and liberties. Students, democracy also means equality. Under a democracy, a country is guided by a constitution. Students, what is a constitution? This is a very important word. You have to read that what is constitution. The most important element in democracy is what is a constitution. In Hindi it is called Samvidhan. So it can be a written book where a constitution is an embodiment of ideas, principles and laws that regulates the government in all its functioning. It is a written book, and we know, students, the Constitution of India is the longest written constitution. Like I have told you earlier that it is an embodiment of ideals, principles and laws that guide the country, that guide the government, it regulates the government to function in all its manner. A democratic constitution guarantees the right to equality to all its citizens. No distinction is made between any citizen. He may be a rich person, he may be poor, it may be a female, it may be a male. On the basis of caste, creed, gender, sex, everybody should be treated equal. And there are more cases also, like no distinction should be made on the basis of race, culture, region, language, religion, caste, color, etc. etc. People are free to practice any religion in any manner and to maintain their own distinct cultures. Therefore, our country is called a country having unity in diversity. Democracy provides a structure of state and government in which diverse cultures, regional identities, many dialects, many languages can be accommodated. Therefore, the differences helps in accommodation, and our country is thus regarded as a country with diverse culture, and it helps to bond together in a country like ours where democracy government is running. Next, students will study something about our country, India. And the next topic after this is, after definition, is about our country, India. It is a vast country, we know, but in this chapter we will study a little about it. That is, it is the 7th largest country in the world, students, we know, but when it's come to population, it is the 2nd largest country according to population after China. But when in terms of area, it is the 7th largest country in the world. It is world's largest democracy, and it is considered as the world's largest democracy, and it is an ideal model of unity in diversity because it presents contrasts of every possible religion, caste, culture, language, region, custom and traditions, and thinking that coexist unitedly as the citizens of India. Students, then the page number, the second page of the chapter, let's say topic called India a Democratic Republic. So, what do you mean by the word republic? As I have told you earlier, that is democratic means this is the form of government which is being running in our country, and that form of government has led us to a better future, because in a country where diverse cultures, different types of languages, thousand types of dialects are being spoken, there's a democracy government which is possible in our country. So, but this is a word, students, please refer to this word republic. What is the meaning of republic? Republic is a state in which the supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives. Students, it is in a country like ours where the supreme power means, you can say, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers. They are elected by the people of the country through elections, the mechanism of elections, and by that only they are elected, and that has made them the Prime Ministers or the ministers, and they are the elected representatives, in which the supreme power, means the power in the zenith, is held by the people, because they are elected by us. Therefore, the power is indirectly held in our hands, and that persons at the top level, they are also ruling in our country. Then students, there is a topic called preamble. We'll read it in the next few minutes. We'll read about preamble. Students, what is preamble? What has made that preamble? Why it is necessary? It is necessary because it is enshrined in the constitution of our country, in our state. Then our next topic is the forms of democracy. So before going to the forms of democracy, as I have explained you that what is democracy, what are the elements of democracy, and what type of government does it survive. Then we can study about the forms of democracy, then the features of democracy in the next few minutes. Students, before going to the forms of democracy, we will study about preamble. As I have told you earlier in few minutes before, what is preamble? Preamble is enshrined in our Constitution of India. Then what is that? It is printed in your page number 6C 162. I have told you that we the people of India, having solemnly resolved is to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic and political justice. Then it's about equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Students, then the last two lines are in our Constituent Assembly. It is being written, and 26th day of November 1949, as we know, this is a very important day. The 26th day of November 1949. Do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. This was the day, students, when our constitution was enacted, and on 26 January 1950 we became a republic, and on this day, every year 26 January, our country celebrates Republic Day, as we all know that. Then there are some words in the preamble. What is written? The first one is liberty. Students, what is liberty? What does liberty stand here? The state of being free within society, means it is a type of freedom. Freedom to everybody, every individual. He or she belong to any caste, any religion, any region, any gender. They are free. The next word is here, students, sovereign. What is sovereign? A supreme ruler, power or authority. Means the ruler, he must be supreme. In a country like ours, that is called a sovereign state. Next word, there is a word called fraternity. What do you mean by fraternity? A group of people sharing a common interest, like if people working in a same place, or some organization, means they are sharing the same fraternity, that is called fraternity. A group of people sharing a common interest, that is the people of our country, that is called fraternity. Therefore, the preamble is written in our Constitution of India, and it was as the Constitution enacted on 26 November 1949. Then after that, after 3 months, our country became a republic. I have written the meaning of the word republic. It is a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives. Students, then we will move to the next topic, that is the forms of democracy. Students, what are the different forms? We will read it further one by one. The first one is representative. Students, the first one is representative. What do you mean by representative? There are the different forms of democracy. That it means that somebody on behalf of us, on behalf of the group of people or a particular area, he or she be the representative to put forward our problems, issues in front of the government, and he or she will try to solve on behalf of us. Students, it is not possible for every citizen to go to the center or go to the state capitals and try to present before them our problems or issues, but it is the responsibility of the representatives. Therefore, elections are being held in our country to send any representative which we choose in a right manner, in a righteous manner, to send them, and they should present our problems and issues in front of the government. Then, what can be it? What it can be? We will read it in detail. That representative democracy involves the selection of government officials by the people being represented. The most common mechanisms involve election of the candidates within a majority or plurality of the vote. Some representative democracies also incorporate elements of direct democracy such as referendum. Friends, here what happens that all the elected representatives, they are being elected by a process called elections, and that is called, the most common mechanism is the elections. They send, or we send the candidates with the majority of votes. The candidate which wins the vote, that is, he or she called the winner, or he or she becomes the MLA or the MP, and he or she represents us in the state or center. Then there is a word called referendum. Students, what is referendum? A characteristics of representative democracy is that while the representatives are elected by the people to act in the interest, they retain the freedom to exercise their own judgment on how best they can do so. Then, students, they have the right to rule. They look into our problems, they present before the government, and they try to solve through proper procedure. Then the next one is parliamentary democracy. Students, the next form is parliamentary democracy. Students, what is parliamentary democracy? It means, in case of this case, in parliamentary democracy, the government is appointed by the parliament representatives as opposed to as a presidential rule, because in our country we don't have the president as the chief of the government. He is the head of our state, but the prime minister is being elected by the people. He is the actual head, we can say, in our country. Under parliamentary democracy, government is exercised by delegations or to an executive ministry and subject to ongoing review, checks and balances by the legislative parliament elected by the people. Students, they are elected by the people, as we all know. Then the next one is liberal democracy. The next one is, students, what is liberal democracy? Liberal democracy is a form of democratic democracy where elected direct representatives, elected representatives that hold the decision power are moderated by a constitution that emphasizes protecting the individual liberties and the rights of minorities in a society, such as freedom of religion, freedom of speech and assembly, the right to private property and privacy, as well as equality before law and many more. Students, in this case, the people, as I have told you earlier, first of all we will try to understand what is fundamental right. Then in fundamental rights we are assigned some rights. Among them there is freedom of religion, freedom to equality. That is called in the liberal democracy, where every citizen in a representative democracy, he or she gets the individual liberties and freedom of religion and freedom of speech and assembly also. That is called the case of different democracy. Students, the next is direct democracy. Students, the next form of government is the direct democracy. What is direct democracy? You know, as we know the meaning direct, and what is direct? It means it is a political system where the citizens participate in the decision making personally, instead of relying on intermediaries or representatives. The supporters of direct democracy argue that democracy is more than merely a procedural issue, that is, voting. Most direct democracies today have been relatively small communities, usually city-states. And the best example is Switzerland. Students, Switzerland is a country, very beautiful country situated in the continent of Europe. That is the example of direct democracy. It means the students, they don't depend upon the representatives, they can call over them whenever they are not dissatisfied with their works. And what happens in Switzerland? The 5 million voters decide on national referendums and initiatives 2 to 4 times a year. Direct democratic instruments are well established at the cantonal and communal level. Means cantonal and communal means there is the division of provinces. They are states. They are depending upon them, and on 3 to 4 times a year they can call over their representatives by different instruments, well established instruments. Then the next type is the socialist democracy. Then the next is socialist democracy. Socialist thought have several thoughts. There are different views on democracy. It means that democratic socialism and social democracy, dictatorship of the proletariat. There's a word called proletariat, means the upper class people. The people having higher income are some examples. Within the Marxism, there is a hostility to that is simply referred to as the parliamentary democracy, or we can say it is called liberal democracy. The Marxism, students, there is a term called Marxism. We will read it in the higher classes. And what is Marxism? Why Karl Marx's views are strongly believed and in a socialist democracy? Then, which they simply refer to as parliamentary democracy. The liberal democracy is a hostile to the Marxism, and it simply refers to the parliamentary democracy because of the often centralized nature. They believe in direct democracy implemented through a system of communes, which are sometimes called Soviets. This system ultimately manifests itself as council democracy and begins with workplace democracy. Students, it is a totally different type of government where the socialist people, they follow Marxism and they believe in liberal democracy, and they are quietly convinced with the direct democracy where they can choose their representatives and at times they can call over it also. Then students, then the next two types is the consensus democracy and interactive democracy. So what is consensus? As I have told earlier that representative democracy, liberal, socialist, then the direct parliament democracy, the last two is consensus and interactive democracy. A consensus democracy requires varying degrees of consensus and not just a mere democratic majority. It typically attempts to protect minority rights from domination. Students, we all know that in our country different types of 1,000 types of people, religion, they survive, they sustain in our country. So the minorities, they should not be dominated by the upper class. Therefore, consensus democracy is required. The last one is, students, interactive democracy. What do we mean by interactive? We know interaction to talk with each other, to know about each other. So in interactive democracy, it seeks to utilize information technology to involve voters in a law-making process. It provides a system of proposing new laws, prioritizing proposals, clarifying them through parliament and violating them through referendum. Students, there's a word called referendum. I have forgotten to tell you the meaning. Now I will tell you in Hindi. We say referendum means janmat sangrah karna. It means to know about the opinions of the people. Janmat. Jan means people, mat means opinion, sangrah means to collect. So janmat sangrah means that is called referendum, a general vote conducted between the people to require to take out some opinions about a particular topic or particular referendum, that is called. Then students will study about the features of democracy. We will study them in short. Features of democracy. The first one is, students, the features of democracy, enlightened citizens. The second one is sound leadership. Students, then the third one is tolerance, public opinion. Students, then the next topic is disciplined political citizens. Students, the last two to three topics are equality, elections. So I am writing the 8th one below, right? And the last one is the universal franchise. Then we will read it further that what are the features of democracy, the last topic to be covered here. The first one is enlightened citizens. Friends, what do you mean by enlightened? What is the meaning? It means they are most aware enough. The most important role is played by the enlightened citizens. They keep a vigil on the functioning of the government because they only can study and they can know that what the government is running or not. What are the different steps taken by the government? Are they functioning or not? Are the smooth functioning of the government being possible in different areas of the country or state or not? Enjoying the right to freedom or expression. They criticize government policies. They draw the attention of the government towards the important matters and cooperate in the implementation of the policies. Through their votes, enlightened citizens can influence the quality of the leadership of a country. There is the election, the mechanism called election I have told you earlier that has made the citizens to change the government in any stage or in different types of elections. Then the sound leadership. Students, sound means healthy. A sound leadership means a healthy leadership. The success of democracy largely depends upon the leadership, upon the leadership quality of the leaders. Maybe the prime ministers or different chief ministers or the ministers. Educated, responsible, accountable, broad-minded leaders may take the people towards a great future, but their commitment to the welfare of the people makes them popular and among the masses. The They are being supported by the people in policy programs, and corrupt leaders, on the other hand, they are anti-people and anti-social people who are harmful for the development of the country. Sure. Then the next topic is tolerance. What do you mean by tolerance? In tolerance, in Hindi we can say sahansheel, means to sahana we can say in Hindi. Tolerance, the key to good, constructive, democratic behavior is to make democracy a way of life. It must prevail not only among the masses but among the leaders too. Tolerance must be inculcated and nurtured through the just and important policies of the state to strengthen by the values of the society. Students, there is a word I have told you, inculcated. Inculcated, it means मन में बिठाना, उनके मन में बिठाना कि that tolerance should be within us, shouldn't be within the leaders of our country. For that only there can be no discrimination policies and they can run our state further in a well smooth manner. Students, then the next is public opinion. What is public opinion? We know the development of science has resulted in advanced communications, technologies, which has brought about revolution in societies. Now, people can express their opinion of the government and state in the fastest possible manner, and any action of the government brings in an immediate reaction from the public. Therefore, public opinion by different means, it can be media, it can be newspapers, it can be referendums, it can be plebiscites. So, these are different ways of public opinion which can be heard by the government to make any changes in their functioning. And education, students, education also helps us to create more enlightened public opinion. Students, then the next topic is disciplining political citizens. It is not about politicians, it is all about us, that how political parties are organizing groups of citizens who have agreed on certain principles, programs and policies, and how they have some specific objectives. They provide a stable platform to citizens to express their views and their public political opinion and exert influence on the policies of the state. They have their own specific socio-economic and political ideologies and the common goal to capture political power. In a democracy, students, political parties contest elections and influence public opinion through their propaganda, manifestos, etc. etc. Students will know about what is the meaning of the word manifesto. Students, it is generally a written document made by the different political parties. They highlight their works after they win the elections, what they will do, what they will not do, their works, their different programs, their policies in a particular document that they release before the elections. Attaining power without corruption, malpractices and divisive policies, unjust attitude towards citizens and society is required of political parties for a democracy to be vibrant and for the smooth functioning of the government. Students, then the next topic is equality. We all know that right to equality is a fundamental right. It may be our constitution of democratic country guarantee the right to equality as their fundamental right to all its citizens, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion, anything. Then however, in spite of legal right to equality, it doesn't always exist. In a case of India, for example, a large number of its citizens still experience inequality in the grounds of caste, religion and language. Especially in villages, the minority people, the Dalit people, they are suffering from inequalities in every manner. We also have seen in the villages, in the remote villages. Thus, formal equality doesn't guarantee its practice. Still, it is needed and its importance cannot be denied or ignored. Then the second last one, students, is elections. What are elections? General elections are the most important decision-making mechanisms in a democracy, where the people have the right to vote. They can vote after the age of 18, after they attain the age of 18, and they are the mechanism through which people's representatives are elected to form the government. Thus, people formulate public opinion. through their representatives and get them elected. And students, the last one is universal adult franchise. Students, what is the meaning? Universal adult franchise, it means the people of our country, after attaining the age of 18, they can vote. This was not in earlier times. After independence, India made an amendment, and then students, all the people who attained the age of 18, they knew to vote, and they got the power to vote. Every country has a defined voting age, a particular voting age. All the adult citizens have the right to vote, regardless of their race, religion, wealth, income, etc., etc. It is referred to as the universal adult franchise, which I have told you earlier. Then in India, the voting age is 18 years, and above them, there is then called the universal adult franchise. This means all Indian citizens aged 18 years or above can vote. No adult citizen can be stopped from voting. No one can violate this law. It is a permissible offense. In a democracy, decisions are taken by the people and not by the officer or dictator. Therefore, at all levels of public life, systems have been developed to make people's participation possible. Therefore, students, this is all about the chapter democracy. Students, I hope you would have understood. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me. There are some difficult words. I have also highlighted that difficult words also. So please go through the video, and while going through the video, please refer the textbook thoroughly. Then only you can understand. By saying this, I am ending this video for today. We will meet on the next class. Thank you, students, and goodbye. Stay home, stay safe. Bye.